Hello there, I'm Colleen.
I'm Anders.
And I'm Daniel.
We're three nerds that met through our love of science fiction and fantasy storytelling. Of course, one of our favorites is George Lucas's signature achievement, Star Wars.
And if there's one thing the internet definitely doesn't have enough of, it's nerds talking about Star Wars. So here we are with yet another Star Wars podcast, where each week we discuss one of the films in the current Star Wars canon.
From the sands of Tatooine to the levels of Coruscant, we cover it all. Yet another Star Wars podcast is available wherever you get your podcast and is part of the Forgotten Entertainment family.
Hey there, I'm Mr. Black.
And I'm Mr. Green. And we're a couple of guys who met in a comic book store.
Together we host the Pint O' Comics podcast, where we invite listeners to join us to talk about movies, TV, comics, music, or just whatever.
Starting very soon, we'll be joining up with the fine folks at Forgotten Entertainment for a special limited series called On the QT, where we talk Tarantino.
Every week for 10 weeks, a guest will join us to chat about every Quentin Tarantino movie, from Reservoir Dogs to Once Upon a Time in Hollywood. So join us starting in May 2021.
On the QT is available wherever you download your podcasts and is part of the Forgotten Entertainment family.
Ooh, that's a bingo.
Hello there, and welcome Nerdy Knights of the Well-Rounded Table to Bohemian Geek Studies, where we take extremely dorky dives into our favorite fandoms. I'm Colleen McMillan, Jedi Master, Rebel Scum collaborator, and Maul aficionado and fan.
Aficionado, enthusiast, fan, you do
All of the above.
Absolutely.
And below as well. Yep, it's going to be one of those podcasts, everybody.
Oh yeah, guys, we're celebrating tonight. I am Pirate Jedi Anders Drill. But no matter what rank you carry or where you carry it, I guess, I don't know. No matter what, though, one thing will always remain constant. Much to learn, we still have.
Indeed. This season on Bohemian Geek Studies, we're taking our detailed dorky dive into Star Wars Rebels. Today, we're diving into Season 3, Episodes 17 and 18 through Imperial Eyes, one of my favorites, and Secret Cargo.
Oh, it's one of my favorites, too. It's a really good episode. We have done our best. We are scrambling our signal, and we will be avoiding spoilers for future episodes of Rebels, but everything else in Star Wars is fair game. And I am definitely throwing in an adult content warning for the younglings on this episode. But without further ado, we're going to hop on board the Phantom 2 and try to help Agent Kallus as we explore our holocrons of knowledge. Then stick with us after the final holocron to celebrate as we commemorate our 100th episode.
100, friends. 100.
100.
Mm-hmm.
But before we get to that, Colleen, we got to punch it and open up that first holocron.
Don't you know it? All right, we're heading into our first holocron, the Journal of the Wills. This is where we go over our plot and episode synopsis for this week. We're going to start out with Through Imperial Eyes. And it starts out just like that. Agent Kallus is woken up by an alarm, and we literally are seeing through his eyes. We have his POV for the first part of the episode. He eventually makes it to the bridge, which is the ship is orbiting Lothal at the point, and Lieutenant List, our poor baby. Poor dummy Lieutenant List orders the capture of a shuttle that is attempting to escape the planet. Kallus decides to lead the boarding party, and it is revealed that the shuttle pilot is in fact Ezra Bridger. Looking cute with his buzz cut. He thinks nobody's going to recognize me, and he's right. The troopers and officers don't recognize him. I don't know how, but they do not. Kallus orders him put into a cell immediately, which is great. And then we have AP5 and the secret agent repainted chopper shuffling out of the shuttle. Just great. They get escorted out and you're like, oh, this is going to be a good episode. After getting Ezra alone in his cell, Kallus turns off the cameras, like any good interrogator would, and demands to know what the fuck Ezra is doing here. Fair, very fair, because he's going to get everybody killed. Ezra responds that he's there to extract Kallus, aka Agent Fulcrum, since they received intelligence that the last Fulcrum transmission was intercepted, which would be bad. They would probably kill Kallus immediately if they found out, maybe. Before they can coordinate an escape. Yeah, maybe not, depending on who finds out. He kind of is lucky here, actually, that Thrawn is the one who found out. He would have just been executed immediately if anybody found out.
Definitely.
They've been like, oh, yeah, you're dead, though. It's fine. Before they can coordinate their escape, List comes in and reveals that Grand Admiral Thrawn, he's on his way. He's ordered the prisoner transferred to the Chimera. AP5 talks him and Chopper onto the shuttle that's going over to the ship, claiming that Chopper has a recording of the shuttle theft.
And, with all this future technology, okay, it's not like I can just put that on a disc and leave you behind. We have to take both droids for the recording that one droid apparently has, and I haven't
Obviously,
seen.
Both of them. Laurel and Hardy need to go to the Chimera.
List, he's just a tactical genius. Well, over on the Chimera, Chopper and AP5 managed to make contact with Kanan and Rex, who are in hyperspace in another stolen shuttle, and they inform them that they have changed ships, and so they have to steal new clearance codes to the Chimera for the extraction team. Meanwhile, Kallus and List are on their way to Thrawn's private offices, and they are required to submit their code cylinders for verification, which is apparently not a normal thing to do when the troopers kind of know who you are. List actually thinks he's kind of above this sort of a thing, which I don't know why. He's not that great.
Yeah, he's not.
Once they go inside, they find that Thrawn is in a sparring session with some attack droids, getting all sweaty.
Yeah, he is.
He stops the session and joins the group in his main office. Among them, Admiral Constantine and Colonel Yularen, who happens to have been one of Kallus's instructors back at the Imperial Academy. They reveal that indeed they did intercept a Fulcrum transmission, and they are there to identify the spy. Thrawn also states that he has narrowed down his search for the rebel base to just 94 systems from the original thousands, so he is getting close. As they're leaving the office, Kallus and List run into Governor Price. Fucking Price. Kallus gives List full credit for the recovery of the stolen shuttle, which he is all too happy to receive. And as Price is walking away, Kallus plants the idea in List that Price is there because Thrawn thinks she is the spy, and does a nice little sleight of hand, switching out the two of their code cylinders. Kallus manages to grab AP5 and Chopper and heads down to Ezra's cell. The two of them have a brief argument in which Kallus has to tell Ezra to get down from the ceiling.
Amazing.
But they form a plan ultimately to delete Adelon from Thrawn's list of potential planets and steal new clearance codes from his office all in one go. Kallus learns from List that Price is with Thrawn and they are heading to the detention block, so his office will in fact be empty.
Ooh, I still wouldn't have got in there. Just because he's gone doesn't mean he's really gone,
I would have sent in AP5.
Oh, yeah, exactly. Yeah, AP, get your ass in there. They infiltrate Thrawn's office with List's code cylinder. They manage to steal the codes so that Kanan and Rex can come pick them up. And they also remove Adelon from the Thrawn's database.
I wonder what planet they put in its place. Because they do put something in, and it's got to be relatively nearby.
Yes, I would think so. I'm not sure which one they would have put in, but we'll have to see if any of this works. Everything's fine. Nothing's on fire. Unfortunately, Thrawn has realized that Ezra escaped and goes back to his office. Kallus activates the sparring droids as a distraction, and they manage to escape, which was a really cool scene. Also, very, very cool. Good job, Kallus. In the shuttle bay, Rex and Kanan land, but are promptly drawn into a firefight with Price, who realizes they are spies. Like, Kanan tries the mind trick on her, and she's like, shoot them.
He doesn't even get halfway through the sentence, and she's like, done.
It would not work on someone like Price. You needed to work on the stormtroopers. It's not going to work on her. Unfortunately, List sees the governor firing on what he thinks are stormtroopers and decides that she must be the spy. Kallus was right. He stuns her while Ezra, Kanan, and the droids get on the escape shuttle. Whoopsies. Kallus decides not to go along, stunning List and framing him as Fulcrum. After all, it was List's code cylinder that sprang Ezra and accessed Thrawn's office. Thinking they outsmarted the Grand Admiral, the rebels escape without Kallus. Afterwards, Thrawn and Yularen are thinking that the Fulcrum situation was tied up a little too neatly. Thrawn examines the helmet that Ezra left behind, which has one of Sabine's Lothcat motifs painted on it. Oh, not the best, because Thrawn is an art analyst and he gets this immediately. And then he knows that the prisoner is Ezra Bridger. And the fact that Callus never revealed this to anyone, because Callus knows what Ezra looks like, oopsies, means Callus must be Fulcrum. Dun, dun, dun.
Dun, dun, dun.
And we're scared.
Yes, and we are officially scared for Callus, something we never would have thought a couple seasons ago.
Yeah, can you imagine season 1? Be like, him? Gross. We don't care about Callus. Oh no, now we do. Shit.
Damn it. Thrawn has that effect on people, Just kind of happens.
Mm-hmm.
Moving into the next episode, Secret Cargo opens up with the ghosts lying in wait, but the crew's not really sure what they're waiting for. They're just kind of hanging out in a debris field. The mission is very, very secret, and Ezra's not too happy about it. He wants to know more. He wants to know what their actual objective is.
Mm-hmm.
They're killing
Sabine.
time.
Wants
Yeah.
to know.
Hey, she's not there right now, so someone's got to do it. Someone's got to ask the questions.
Yep. Mm-hmm.
So they're killing time, watching the holonet, and they see a broadcast comes on about the treasonous Senator Mon Mothma, who has made some extreme remarks against the Empire, specifically the Emperor himself.
Yeah.
They are then interrupted by the appearance of an Imperial infiltrator droid. At first, they kind of power everything down to try and avoid detection, but they are ultimately forced to try and shoot the thing down before it can scan them. A squad of Y-Wings and a cargo ship arrive, and Ezra manages to get off a kill shot that destroys the droid.
Mm-hmm.
The ghost docks with the freighter, although the newly arrived Gold Squadron will not allow the ghost crew on board.
No.
They just are like, nope, give us our fuel so we can leave, and then we'll be fine. Hera allows their crew onto the ghost while they wait, and the newly arrived fighter pilots are like, oh yeah, we've heard about Phoenix Squadron. You guys are reckless and need to think about what you're doing. So while we as the audience have been cheering on the ghosts and the entire Phoenix Squadron for doing things like blowing up communications towers, although that wasn't technically them, the Empire did that themselves.
Yeah, that was Tarkin's fault.
Yeah, that was Tarkin's fault. They did destroy Tarkin's Star Destroyer though.
They did do that.
But that has apparently caused security to be much tighter throughout the Outer Rim, which has made the lives of everyone else in the rebellion kind of difficult. To which I say, well, it's a rebellion, guys. You're gonna blow up enemy ships. Like that's kind of the point.
Yeah.
Like
it's the whole mission.
Yeah, it is the mission. The Gold Leader even scolds the Spectres for drawing attention to themselves by blowing up that pro droid that would have scanned them and alerted the Empire to their presence.
Yep.
So yeah,
they had no choice.
That's where we're at, guys. Ezra claps back at them and says, if they had any idea what this mission actually was, they could have actually planned their actions accordingly.
Yeah, they would have probably done things differently. If they had known that they were waiting for somebody that important.
They probably would have powered down. They wouldn't have been killing time on the holonet. They would have just been lying there powered down from the start.
Yeah, exactly. They would not have been doing what they were doing. Before they can fully resolve the disagreement, the group is attacked by arriving Imperial forces. Yikes. One pilot is unfortunately knocked unconscious, and Ezra takes command of her Y-Wing, which is great. This is the one that he was arguing with. She was like, you guys suck. And Ezra's like, you suck more. Because he's a teenager and that's what he does. The freighter is destroyed and its crew members evacuate to the ghost. Hera is shocked to see that their main passenger is Mon Mothma herself. Ginger Queen, here we go. The Senator and Chopper, which is great. I love this scene when she's working with Chopper, detach the ghost from the freighter while Hera gets them away. Mon Mothma formally introduces herself to the crew and reveals that she is on her way to a secret meeting that will hopefully build a united rebellion from the various cells across the galaxy.
Wild that this isn't united yet. Like we're still not to this point.
We're not there yet. They're all still in like their little cells. They actually have at least a command kind of structure going on now, but it's just not as fully unified or useful as it could be.
It's a few leaders. They each get their own fulcrum. You know, you have a fulcrum, you have a fulcrum. Everybody gets a fulcrum. Everyone gets one.
Okay, here we go. Mon Mothma has Erskine give Hera the coordinates to their destination, which is Dantooine. Interesting. Very interesting.
Yes, we cut back to Lothal, where Admiral Constantine, Thrawn, and Governor Price are discussing the course of events. And Thrawn determines that that is in fact the ghost, and that Hera will be able to escape the system by taking the quote-unquote unlikeliest path out, the Archeon Pass, which goes through a nebula and is a favorite of smugglers in the region. Price asks him to be the one to bring down Senator Mon Mothma, so Thrawn sends her to the far side of the nebula, and he sends his new TIE Defender prototype. They actually have a working model now, along with his best pilot, to pursue the ghost.
Freaking Vault Scarus. He's another tool.
Yeah, I never liked that guy. Mon Mothma and Hera are having a discussion in the cockpit about their lives and how they actually kind of envy one another. Like Hera's like, gosh, I wish I could be this inspirational leader like you. And Mon Mothma's like, gosh, I wish I could actually kind of be out on the front lines. The Senate just gets so monotonous and frustrating and feel like no progress can actually be made. Mon Mothma says she's been trying to expose the Emperor within the context of the Senate, but she's coming to the conclusion that her worst fear, like actual open war, may be the only thing that can bring freedom back to the galaxy. Hera gives her some good old Hera wisdom about how things are in fact different from the Senate out here on the front lines. Like, as far as they're concerned, they are in open war at this point. Like, this is not a choice anymore. They've been there for a couple of years now.
It's wild.
The conversation gets interrupted by the arrival of a Star Destroyer and that new TIE Interceptor.
Trouble.
Yes. Oh, I'm sorry, TIE Defender.
Yeah.
And they contact the ghosts and order them to hand over the Senator, which of course Hera's going to do. That's obviously the choice.
Yeah, totally.
2 of the accompanying Y-Wings are destroyed, and the remaining Gold Squadron follows the ghosts into the nebula. After a firefight within the gas, the ghost gets too close to a forming star for the prototype to be able to handle, so it breaks off while they, power drained, exit the nebula, thinking that they've managed to escape, and the Y-Wings stay behind to deal with that pesky TIE. But Hera is then, of course, greeted by Governor Price and another Star Destroyer on the other side of the nebula. Hera and Mon Mothma stall for time while the hyperdrive is recharging, and Ezra has a plan to take out the TIE Defender within the nebula with an ion blast. That works, and it is thrown into a forming star.
Yep. Whoopsies. Oh no, not that.
Oh boy.
We need to destroy as many of these as possible, you guys.
Yes.
All right, so the ghost is then in a tractor beam, but Ezra and Gold 3 use their proton torpedoes to ignite the nebula's gas and disable the 2 destroyers, allowing them all
beautiful
to escape.
Shot.
It's very beautiful. This episode, while it wasn't as exciting probably as episode 17, was stunning. Like visually, there were a lot of beautiful things going on here. I think they've upped their game so much. Like we've had the Zeb episode with Bolasat. That I think is probably one of their peak beauty mixed with score moments, but this was also excellent. Loved it. Mon Mothma makes a broadcast resigning from the Senate and publicly committing to the fight against the Empire. Woo! We got one of the big ones, guys, because she is probably one of the most popular senators. So this is quite a get for the rebellion, even though they probably don't realize she's been in it since the beginning. We see it being received on several planets, and the show is visited over the series. Like, this was pretty cool, going back and visiting with everybody. We see Ryder Azadi. Oh my gosh, I'm sure Flo was like, who the fuck is that guy? It's Ryder Azadi.
Would have been great if we saw the giant moose.
Oh, the Bendu. Oh no.
Yeah, if the Bendu was somehow caught the transmission, I'm sure Flo would have been thrilled.
He probably would not be super happy about this transmission just because he's like, I like balance, and this is not balancing. So the episode closes with several ships arriving over Dantooine for the meeting. Yay.
All right. And with that, let's move into our second holocron, the Will of the Force, where we go through the theme or themes in these episodes and the series. Colleen, you want to start us off with our episode themes?
Yes. So for episode 17, our theme is taking risks. Both Callus and Ezra take extreme risks in this episode. Like, Ezra should not have been there in all reality.
No, this really could have been anybody else. Maybe not Zeb. It really could have been anybody else who's not on the Ghost Crew.
Right. They would have been able to hide easier. Like there's people that
But would they
nobody
have flagged Callus's notice though? That's the other question.
Yeah, probably not. Is that if it was Ezra, it's super easy for Callus to be like, oh shit, what are you doing here?
Yeah.
He could be caught and recognized super easily though, because List definitely would have been like, I think I've seen you before. Probably,
But he didn't.
But he didn't, because he doesn't really pay attention to anything. I did like how Ezra's determined like to get Callus out, even though they're on the same side, but they're still kind of like this frenemy situation.
Oh, you could totally
going on.
tell Ezra has this like smarmy thing, like, yeah, that's right, I'm saving your tail.
Yeah. I risked my life to come in and save you. And Callus is like, fuck you, get out. I don't need saving. And then Callus takes the ultimate risk of staying. Like, he knows that his transmission was intercepted. And he thinks that he's gotten them off of his tail. So he decides to stay, and it's like, oh baby, this is not gonna be good. Ah, he throws like all caution to the wind. He's like, nope, I'm gonna extract more information for you guys, which is very noble, but also like, dude, probably not the best decision. And then episode 18, our theme is when you're out of options. Sometimes there's only one option left. Mon Mothma and Hera have that conversation about being outgunned instead of being outvoted. Very different. I mean, if you're in the Senate, you could possibly be killed, but it's different than being out on the front lines.
Yeah.
Being shot at every day like Hera is. Mon Mothma has to come to the terms with the idea that this will be a full-out war. Like, you're not going to be able to solve it in the Senate. Palpatine has too much control there.
This is going to be very aggressive negotiations.
Very, very aggressive negotiations. Anders, how about our series theme for these episodes?
So our series theme, we kind of move away a little bit from the chosen family in these episodes. Like, we don't really get too much of that with Callus and building those types of relationships. No spoilers. But we do kind of revisit a theme that we've seen before, and that would be the bigger picture. So this theme has come up a few times throughout the series, usually being brought to our attention via Hera, and then actually later through Ezra himself. He brought this up on his transmission back in season 1, where he's kind of bringing this larger idea that this is something outside of ourselves. It is something that we all must do together, and there is a larger plan in place. Mon Mothma brings it full circle here with her speech at the end that is actually calling for a unified rebellion. Yeah. And the idea of that you are finding something outside of just you worth fighting for and seeing that larger picture. Mon Mothma again brings it to the forefront. She's trying to unite these disparate rebel cells that, again, to this point, you may have thought that they were like a standing army, but they are not. They are individual guerrilla cells, and she is trying to unite them for something larger.
They need to make bigger moves.
Yeah, they need to start making bigger moves. You can't, Kanan had to kind of come to terms with this, that they can't just, we're going to raid a single shuttle here and a single shuttle there to kind of stick it to the Empire. We need to fight for the faceless, the ones who can't fight for themselves.
Exactly. And that needs a level of coordination that they don't have yet.
Yep.
They have some very capable leaders, but they need to form like a coalition. It's time. Okay, next we're going to head into our third holocron, the Galaxy's Populace. This is where we go about exploring the characters and relationships covered in today's episodes. I'm going to get us started with Hot Callus, because damn, he's looking good in this episode, y'all. Looking good. We get to see a day in the life of what Callus goes through, basically. Like, trying not to get caught when you're living within the depths of the Empire has got to be so draining. It's like Snape in Harry Potter. Like, you're constantly having to shield yourself and make friends.
Yeah, but Callus isn't as much of a dick as Snape was. I'm sorry.
What? In the beginning, he was totally ready to kill people.
Well, yeah, but that was before he was a spy. After he turned spy, he is absolutely not as much of it. Snape stayed the same dick level. In fact, he probably got worse as time.
That is a conversation for another podcast. Sarah and I will gladly go over this with you.
Let's do it sometime. Absolutely.
That would be super fun. I'm sure Flo would also jump on that like crazy because he was not that good of a teacher.
No,
But
he's a terrible teacher.
yeah, he's not great, guys. Callus would probably actually be a good teacher.
Eh.
It's interesting here that he's not super worried about his own life, though, even though he is trying to stay hidden. He makes that choice to stay with the Empire. Like, dude, you're putting your life on the line here. Where in the Empire, as an ISB agent, like, he was, but not in the same way. Like, he had a place where he kind of felt safe. Like, he could go back to his room and feel safe there.
I mean, as an
No, he
ISB
can't.
agent, I feel like you can just, if you're ever really worried, you probably don't have much of a conscience. So if you're ever really
Nope.
worried, you just like grab somebody and you're like, spy, here, have that.
Yeah. Yes. So have that, or put them in front of you. So
Put him
does
on my
this
quota for the month.
He does that this episode when he totally blames List for his crimes, which he had to do, but that's just how it goes sometimes. We're sorry, List. I do like that they showed like his tenaciousness, his intelligence, how skilled he is. Like Thrawn even says, it took a lot of skill to reprogram those droids that quickly.
Mm-hmm.
Like he did that really, really quickly. Like there's a reason that he was at the top of his class and that Yularen remembers him and has been following his career, which is not good right now. That Yularen knows you and knows who you are. He shows that like remarkable perseverance, which is really good, like for an ISB agent and for a rebel spy. He was actually kind of made to be this spy, just because he knows how to be a mole. Basically, he knows how to stay.
He knows how they
hidden,
think,
and he knows how to think on the fly. But he also shows his arrogant side here. Like how did he think that he was going to be able to outsmart Thrawn? He's been with Thrawn now for a while, and he thinks that he can outsmart him. I'm like, oh, Callus, this is your hubris. This is going to come back to bite you in the ass at some point.
Yeah.
And then Yularen's there too, and Price. These are heavy hitters. They're not going to be fooled for that long. Like, Price doesn't like anyone, so she's automatically suspicious of everyone. And even Yularen at the end's like, this is too easy. It's tied up too neatly.
Yeah.
It's just like he can roll with the punches and think on his feet. It's just too bad that he was punching outside of his weight class with Thrawn.
Especially because we know that Thrawn does in fact punch a lot.
Yeah, he does.
Yeah.
He looks good while he's doing it.
Yep. Speaking of Thrawn, the Grand Admiral is definitely as wily as ever. He also, this episode that we finally see him kind of showing off his physical side, he's able to spar with those. Those droids are massive. They are
huge,
big, and could easily kill him. And something tells me he does not have them on safety mode.
No.
And as always, he's showing off his chess skills yet again. He's moving every piece around the Chimera just with incredible ease. And this is also, I mean, this really is, he has shown himself to be this like art lover, and we saw back with the Hera episodes, back on Ryloth with the Calicori, where he's like, he shows that he knows that this is a culturally significant piece and that someone would only risk it if it was a personal bit, which is how we identified Hera. But here we see him again. He's identifying artistic styles on that Lothcat motif to connect it to Sabine, which means this was painted by Sabine, ergo this is Ezra. He went from there's a helmet on the ground to Callus's fulcrum, like that.
Really quickly. Like, oh shit, Callus, no, you were wrong. You were wrong all along. Oh my gosh. He might have had a chance if it hadn't been Thrawn, but
no.
Yeah,
if it was Yularen might have been suspicious, but he wouldn't have been able to make those connections. Right. Price would not have been able to make those connections. She's not subtle enough for that.
Right.
If it was anybody else.
Definitely not.
Nope. And List would just be rotting in a cell and everything would be fine.
Yep.
Actually, I'm kind of curious. I mean, Thrawn just is letting List rot in a cell, right? For the sake of the ruse.
Yeah. He's not having him killed or anything, but
no, because List is like not useful otherwise. So
yeah. Exactly.
Yep. And then in episode 18, we get Mon Mothma. Genevieve O'Reilly is back. The actress was cast as the young Mon Mothma for Revenge of the Sith, though her scenes were ultimately cut. They were some of the better scenes because they actually made Padme show off her skills. but they wanted her back, so she plays the senator in Rogue One, and she voices her here in Rebels.
Yes.
Mon Mothma is the senator from Chandrila and is one of Leia's chief teachers and a very, very crucial ally of Padme during the Clone Wars. She's one of her original, like, Padme gets the Senate. She's not really sure how to work things, and she kind of takes some lessons from Mon Mothma and ultimately maneuvers her way and becomes a very successful senator during the Clone Wars and the advent of the Empire.
Yeah.
And here she's finally taking that last step away from the Senate and into the rebellion.
Yes.
Between her and Bail Organa, they are the two most important individual figures for the rebellion. They are the original kind of leaders.
Yeah.
There's a
The
petition.
builders.
There's a very, very, very tense and actually kind of comical scene.
Yes, it was also funny, but the whole time I was like, oh my God.
There's so much tension in the scene. Oh my gosh. It's in Leia, Princess of Alderaan. Highly recommend you read this, where Mon Mothma and Bail Organa and also Brea Organa fake that Bail and Mothma have been having an affair in the middle of like a crowded dinner party
dinner party.
There's a big dinner party in order to throw off Tarkin off their scent that that these guys are all in cahoots.
Freaking Tarkin's like, you're spending an awfully lot of time together. So at this dinner party, Brea like has a sort of breakdown, like
throwing
a fake
wine
breakdown
in their faces and being like, and then Bale's like, you want to do this now? You want to do this now?
She's like,
yes,
and
my mom was like, and my mom was just like, for the last time, nothing is going.
And Tarkin's like, this is absurd, but also like, spill the tea.
Spill the tea, but I would expect more from one of the great houses.
Oh my God, yes. He's such a fucking tool. Yes, read that book. It's great.
It is a great book. Anyway, back to these episodes. Her speech is ultimately able to call together many rebels to Dantooine. And we know that they ultimately will coalesce into this more stable rebellion during and after the events of Rogue One. In both canon and legends, Mon Mothma goes on to be the first leader of the new government that forms after the Empire falls. She does become the Chancellor. And then they find out that really the New Republic was only being held together by her charisma.
Yeah, that's a tough blow when they realize that it... Yeah, Bloodline, also very good for canon. And then, of course, Heir to the Empire has her being... I don't think it's called the Chancellor in Legends, but she's the leader of the New Republic in Legends as well, to start with. And then last but not least ever, we have Hera. Secret Cargo gives us a little bit more time with her because we haven't really gotten to spend much time.
She's always off on something else.
Yeah, she's always off on something else. We've been a lot of Sabine-centric. We've gotten more Ezra here. But then that means that they're off doing their teen adventure thing, and Hera's not there. So we get her here, and I love her in this episode. She still stands out as this idealistic, larger view person of the Ghost. But we also see her showcase her piloting skills and her tactical abilities in the Nebula. Very cool. Since we know that Hera is a general from Rogue One, we can assume that Mon Mothma first took notice of Hera's abilities here. Hera's a lot like Mon Mothma. She's an excellent leader. People are very willing to follow her, charismatic. I mean, it's no wonder that she gets called general over the loudspeaker in Rogue One, which makes me freak out every time. Like, General Syndulla, where? But we don't get to see her, so hopefully someday.
But we get Chopper.
We do get Chopper, and that's good enough, I suppose.
Yeah. All right, well then let's move into our fourth holocron, Binding the Galaxy Together. This is where we go over our homages, Easter eggs, and callbacks throughout the episodes. And I'm going to start us off with Ezra and his freaking helmets. It's a hilarious, tiny reference to Ezra's dedication to his collection. Unfortunately, he does lose this helmet. But he's being kind of roughly brought into the cell, and the trooper like throws his helmet aside, and he just says, "Hey, be careful with that."
Yes, he loves his helmet. Plus, Sabine painted it, so it's
I know it's a very sentimental thing. Sabine's not there anymore. Ezra has to remember her.
Yeah, of course, he should not have worn that helmet because that's how Thrawn puts everything together.
Yeah.
But
Well,
he
I
didn't
mean,
know that would
you could
happen.
also say that they shouldn't have flown the giant painted tie into the hangar bay, but
Yeah, God.
it was
Frickin'
such a great
moron
moment.
Squad. Yes, it's fantastic. The rebellion, folks, everything's fine. And then we get to our favorite poor heel of the Empire, Lieutenant List. If you don't remember him, he reminds us in this episode that he was in charge of, quote, that incident with the princess from Alderaan. A reference to the episode A Princess on Lothal, which is great. And he's been in a couple other episodes. He actually was in the pilot episode. He's the one who's in charge of the freaking canisters that get taken. Our
He's
poor
just
Boo.
incompetent. No,
poor
he's
Boo.
not a boo. No, he is not a boo.
I feel worse for him than I do for other people in the Empire because he's just a dummy. He's one of those idiots that's like,
I
don't
don't,
really
because
know
he
what's
probably grew up
happening.
in like extreme comfort and never had to think.
Oh yeah, exactly. He's
Yeah.
definitely a rich boy who just
Mhm.
got okay scores at the academy, and they're like, well, we have to promote you.
Yeah, because
Nepotism.
Palpatine, even as an emperor with absolute control, does still have to play politics. I love
Right.
those scenes from some of the novels, and I want
Mhm.
to see it on screen. Palpatine, like in his like hooded robes, all like mangly, probing the dark side, and then just like, I have to have that 9 o'clock.
You need to sign the roster for the new academy, sir. Oh shit. That senator from fucking Alderaan wants one of his kids.
Lego Palpatine would totally have that scene.
Oh my gosh, yes. Please give it to us. Give it to us now.
All right, speaking of other characters that we've seen before, we do see Colonel Yularen.
Mm.
Yularen does appear throughout the Clone Wars TV series and has been seen as far back as A New Hope as one of the members of Tarkin's council around that table.
Mm-hmm. Yep.
He and Governor Price are two characters that appear in the 2017 Thrawn novel, where Yularen is shown to be one of Thrawn's chief advocates.
Yes.
He's not that bad of a dude. He just kind of picked the wrong side, as in he picked the winning side.
He did.
When the Clone Wars ended.
Yeah, because he was friends with Anakin and Obi-Wan. He was with
You
them
could still
for a
call him
lot of
friends
the
with
Clone
Anakin.
Wars. Oh, yeah, that's fair. I always wonder if he's one of the people that might know that Vader is
It's like one of those like
Anakin.
odd open secret things. Like every time you're in the headspace of a high-ranking Imperial and Vader comes into the scene, they always talk about how like have a suspicion.
Especially Tarkin.
Oh, always Tarkin.
Tarkin is like, yeah, that's fucking Anakin Skywalker.
Yeah.
Yes, you're correct, Tarkin. It is. Next, we have Sabine's art. When hiding in Thrawn's office, Ezra takes refuge behind that wall fragment, which is covered in Sabine's artwork. It looks great, but it's going to point out a lot of things in the rebellion later. We're sorry, Sabine. You'll notice that Hera's Kalikori is on the opposite wall. There's a Clone Wars era helmet, an Abnando bust, and the Holy Grail from Indiana Jones and the Last Crusade.
Oh my god, guys, aliens. It's an alien artifact.
It's their chiss, obviously. That's what's happening. Oh, that would make that movie so much better if it were the chiss.
If it were actually a Star Wars crossover.
Yes. Make it happen.
Maybe that's what happens in the 5th one that is currently filming.
That'd be so good.
With Harrison Ford
in
de-aging dots on his face.
Oh my god. I'm not ready.
Next up, we have the code word. So Thrawn uses the word Rook to shut down his sparring droids. And that is the name of his, I'm always forgetting how to pronounce this. It's Nogri?
I think it's Nogri.
Nogri,
that's
personal bodyguard from the Heir to the Empire trilogy.
Rook. Interesting. Always a fun character in the Heir to the Empire. He always freaks out frickin' Pelion. He sneaks up on him all the time. Poor Pelion, everyone. We love Pelion from Heir to the Empire. He is a put-upon person who is with Thrawn, and Thrawn always is like, can you figure out this puzzle? I've already figured it out. And Pelion's like, no. He tries really hard. He does a good job. He's a little bit better at figuring shit out than Eli is, but he's also older. Next, we have Thrawn's framing. This is kind of cool. In a bit of an after Easter egg here, but the framing of Thrawn in the closing of the episode between the two lizard statue things behind his desk is very similar to how he's framed on the cover of Thrawn Ascendancy, Greater Good. Interesting. Very
Lesser
interesting.
Evil coming in a couple months.
I'm very excited. November, please. I'm ready. I'm ready. I need to know everything that's going to happen. Please, Timothy Zahn, give us the outbound flight. We need it. The lizard creatures themselves are a reference to the Isalamiri, which I actually kind of like. They're not great because they nullify the Force, which is bad for a Jedi, especially Luke, poor Skywalker in poor babies. He's always like, I can't use the Force. What's wrong? And this lizard's like, haha, I can nullify the Force. This is great. Thrawn utilizes them a lot in Heir to the Empire. He's often seen with them perched on his shoulders, which is really cool in that because it looks like the two lizards are on his shoulders. Like, I see you, Dave Filoni. I understand what you're doing here. They have yet to really be canonized, but I'm kind of thinking that they might be soon.
I don't know. I'm kind of curious about that.
I mean, I can see them happening if they're doing an Heir to the Empire kind of thing with Ahsoka.
It's been a long, long time since I've read those, so I'm trying to think about like if it almost undermines the Force a little bit. That like if the Force is ultimately in everything, what are these things? Are they just like midi-chlorianless?
No, because they're hunted by these things that use the Force, so they've adapted in order to make sure if there's a lot of them, they make a field that can protect them all. That's why they're all in the same tree together. So it's nature just kind of balancing itself from these very Force sensitive predators that try to kill them.
And we'll see. All right, next up we have some very dangerous droids. So the probe that the Ghost crew fights at the beginning of Secret Cargo might look familiar. In fact, it should. We saw it just several episodes ago. It is the same model as the infiltrator droid that Zeb, quote unquote, accidentally brought back to Chopper Base.
Oopsies.
And had a fight with, where he proved to AP5 that he is in fact capable in some cases.
He's like, you learned to read. Interesting. Oh, AP, we love you. And then we have Gold Squadron. This is always really super fun when we get original trilogy kind of callbacks. Lando leads this squad in Return of the Jedi. Also, as everything in Rebels comes back again, these Y-Wings are very likely to be the ones that the Ghost crew stole back in the season 3 premiere because they were going to Jan Dodana, and Gold Squadron is under his command. Captain John Dutch Vander is killed in A New Hope during the run on the Death Star. And this, buddy, his kind of Texas accent very much stands out, but it's great. I love to see more of him.
Yeah. Next up, we have the fact that Mon Mothma is trying to actually still build an alliance. This is a reference to the fact that at this point, despite what we may think, especially having been through the original trilogy and everything, the rebellion is still this kind of fractured group of loosely connected cells. It is not a standing army.
No, not even a little bit. But they're going to try at Dantooine. They're on Dantooine.
They're on Dantooine.
If that meeting's location sounds familiar, that's because it's the place that Leia tells Tarkin is the location of the Rebel base as a fake out back in A New Hope.
Yes, it shows up several times in other novels. I think it shows up in at least one of the Battlefront novels. I think it shows up in Lost Stars at some point.
Yes, I think so.
Yeah, he's sent there, right? Such a good book.
So, it is so good. I need to reread that. I think I read it really quickly because I was just like, I can't put it down.
It's really it's made as to be a Disney Plus series.
Yes, completely. I agree. I think it's kind of rude of Disney to name the next High Republic novel Fallen Star, written by Claudia Gray, and yet it is not a sequel to Lost Stars.
Maybe it will star one of the ancestors.
I just saw that. I'm like, oh, Claudia Gray's writing a book called Fallen Stars. Is that going to be the sequel to Lost Stars? No,
it's High Republic.
No, it's High Republic, which is also fine, but also
it is actually fine, Colleen. This is not it's fine. Everything's fine. It's actually fine.
I know.
High Republic is going strong.
It is going very strong, and I'm very happy that it still is, and that she's writing novels for it because she's one of my favorites.
She is fantastic. All right, that's going to wrap up this holocron. But before we move into our next holocron, we'd like to take a quick break to hear from this week's sponsors. So do you need a freelancer to help with your website, either a designer, maybe you need someone to help you write expert articles or blog posts, or maybe you need a presentation designer to help you with a big work project? Look no further than the #1 freelance marketplace, Fiverr. Fiverr is the ideal tool to help you with pressing projects. Just post your gig or start a search for freelancers and you're off. Don't deal with the hassle of finding freelancers by yourself. Let Fiverr help you. See the link in the show notes to get started. Please note, Bohemian Geek Studies is an affiliate partner of Fiverr. We may receive commissions on purchases and services you buy after you click the link. These commissions help support the growth of BGS, and we really do appreciate your continued support.
All right, everybody, it is time for us to head into our 5th holocron, the Newbie from Naboo. This is Flo's first time watching Rebels, so we've tasked her with watching the episodes and giving us her takes and her questions. Gonna be a lot this week, I think, especially in that hot takes section.
Hot is right.
Steamy. Speaking of hot, with us again for the first time in so long is our queen of queries, Sarah.
Yay!
Hey y'all, how's it going?
It's about to be great.
Yeah, it is gonna be great. We are gonna light so many like freaking Mustafar fires today.
Yeah, in my loins.
Oh yeah. Mm-hmm.
Yeah, it was a shame that Callus didn't wake up naked. Like, let's just start there, right? Like, episode 17 opened up really, really well. Great suspense. Whose eyes are we looking through? But like, Callus, why are you not sleeping shirtless for all of us?
Absolutely.
For all of our sakes.
Yeah.
I mean,
and then have it be like a lady stormtrooper be like, hello.
Man, that would have been so good. Okay, there's got to be like a porn out there where that happens. Yeah.
For sure.
All right, should we get into it?
Let's get into it.
Okay, so episode 17, Through Imperial Eyes. So first of all, it begins like a first-person shooter video game, which I loved. Because I feel like every first-person shooter like starts off with like, where am I? And then you like look down in your hands, you're like, oh, these are empty bottles or what, you know? Anyways, I played a lot of those games. Anyways, so that was super fun.
Where's that med pack?
Exactly, right? Anyways, so I loved that. Callus is so hot, people.
Yeah.
Okay, remember when I had a problem with his goatee? I don't
Are you absolved
anymore.
Yeah.
Like, he is so hot. Okay, obviously we could tell that Ezra was playing a part. This was like a whole bit, right? So nobody was in real danger. I felt really good about that. Love seeing AP5 and Chopper together. Dynamic duo, although we didn't get as much sass from AP5 as I wanted, but it was still really good.
Mm-hmm.
See, it's interesting that you say that there was like no suspense and you felt totally safe in Ezra's hands, because I felt such suspense for these characters the entire flipping episode. I was so nervous that someone was going to get caught, something bad was going to happen. Like, on the one hand, this is Rebels, a kid's show. Nothing bad's going to happen at all. But like, Thrawn, who also should have been shirtless, but basically was when working out. Thank you very much for that decision. Like, I'm surprised you didn't feel the suspense flow, because my heart was kind of racing, not gonna lie.
So at the beginning, I definitely did not. I was like, everything's going fine. I know that like Ezra's got this. There's definitely backup, and like Callus is in on it. Later, I did feel it. Like when Thrawn started inquiring more and like we started realizing that he figured it out, then I was like, oh shit, like that's not good. Okay, so I loved Callus and Ezra together.
Yes, they're so cute.
Loved them. I loved it when Ezra grabbed Callus's fist and punched him, basically.
Yeah.
Like, whatever. That was great. This next note just says, uh-oh, Thrawn, which I think is applicable at any point.
Yeah, he's on point this episode, though.
Oh my
yeah.
Whole time.
Yeah.
That was crazy.
Okay,
I had a question. That lieutenant guy, what's his name?
Liz. Lieutenant Liz.
Okay. Is he the same guy that we had seen in the Leia episode?
Yes.
Okay. Because when they referenced Leia, I was like, oh, like that was probably the guy who was in charge of that mission. And like, this is kind of a good callback.
Mm-hmm.
But I wasn't 100% sure. So I'm glad to know it was. And I was not crazy. Great.
You're not crazy. When he's like, that was a bad meeting. I'm like, oh, that it was.
I have to say, like, I was very happy that Thrawn was mandating the like little canister things to be checked at the door. It's like nobody else has taken security seriously ever in Star Wars. And now finally Thrawn's like, no, we're going to check ID before people come in. It just like felt good. So I was happy that Thrawn was taking that measure.
So to be clear, you are more in line with the Empire being more impure, or like more like an empire then. Like the more regulations, the better.
I'm just saying that a society operates with rules, and I feel like rules are important. So
I maintain that the rebels take off from the Imperial like docking bays way too easily very often.
Yeah, they do. 100%. Like, yeah. Okay, this next note. I'm gonna read it verbatim. Whoa, Thrawn training. I love this for Colleen.
Colleen loved this for Colleen. Every time I rewatch it, I'm like,
I'm not into Thrawn, but this was good. Like, replace Thrawn with Anakin in this, and I would have like probably come on the spot, honestly. Anyway, to be perfectly honest.
Yes.
So that was great.
That's why you need to read one of the Thrawn canon books, because he does have some time with Anakin.
Okay. Twist my arm, why don't you, please, Anakin?
Yeah, I was about to say, whoa, daddy. Like, I'm getting very like kinky vibes right now, and I'm like, oh, all right.
I mean, I'm just saying. Okay, so then I wrote, the Lieutenant List guy is such a pick-me-ass bitch.
Yes.
Like, why is he so annoying? He was like, well, you know, whatever I can do. Blah, blah, blah. It's like, nobody cares, Lieutenant. Nobody cares.
I'm a
lieutenant.
You get the feeling that he's
cares.
like some higher up son-in-law or something that they just had to give a promotion to.
Yeah. It felt very nepotism for sure, because he seemed completely incompetent.
Yeah.
So anyways, okay, the next note just says, Agent Kallus is officially my crush with 2 hearts.
Taking this
he was
long.
just so good in this one. He was absolutely flawless.
I love this episode. It is a superb episode.
It really
Then
is.
somebody, and I forget who it was, maybe that like other old guy, like the guy who's talking to Thrawn. I don't know who that guy is.
Yularen.
Okay, well, he was pretty good looking for an old guy too. But anyways,
he's attractive. Yularen
yeah.
Mm-hmm.
So I think it was him or somebody said the words rebel spy, and immediately that took me to Star Tours and being the rebel spy at Disneyland, and I was just like, this is so cool, because I've been the rebel spy, and so that was really exciting.
I have 2.
You have?
Yes.
Oh my gosh, it's like a very special time when you're the rebel spy. I was only the rebel spy because it was just like basically me on the ride. So it's like, well, it can't be anybody else. That was me.
And the Empire's incompetent, so they probably never found you.
They did not. I got away. So woohoo. I just really like this whole plot. The framing of Lieutenant List was really cool. Of course, we saw it coming, but just the way it all came together so seamlessly for Kallus, except for, of course, like being found out at the end, because they're like, oh, List is not this smart. I just thought it was a very cool episode, and it just like really highlighted how smart Kallus is, how sneaky he is, like him being able to like switch the canister things. It was just really, really great.
I'm actually disappointed they didn't tease out Kallus being a little bit clever for a little bit. Like,
yeah,
you know,
I would agree with that.
You know what I mean? Like, in one hand, it was great that they gift wrapped a delicious Kallus episode from top to tail that fully resolved itself. So on the one hand, like, absolutely loved it. But on the other hand, it was kind of like, damn, that is a really ingenious plan. I wish it worked out for him even a little bit longer. And I'm just worried for our guy.
I really want it can be just like a short, even. It doesn't have to be like a full episode, although I'm sure Flo will want it to be like a full movie. Like, I want to know the original story of how he actually did end up contacting the rebellion and like get the full bit.
I want the whole Kallus story. I want to see him in training. I want to see him swimming.
Who are you casting?
Naked. Yep.
doing everything.
Naked.
Who are you
Yeah.
casting as him? Fan
Oh.
cast.
That's a really good question.
That's a tough question. Because he has to be like good looking, but also smarmy and have that kind of like arrogance to him.
Yeah, he reminds
Maybe-
me of Flo Rider or Flynn Rider.
Flynn
Flynn
Rider.
Flynn
Rider.
Rider.
Flo Rider. He
Flo
reminds me
Rider.
of the artist Flo Rider.
I mean, we could cast David Oyelowo. I can never pronounce his name. Oyelowo.
Oyelowo?
Yes, I can never pronounce his name because he's the voice actor. I don't care if he is black. Give me him. I will. Because
Yeah.
he is gorgeous and
I
his
love
voice
his
is
voice.
perfect.
His voice is sinful.
Maybe who played Rob Stark? I feel like he could do a good
Yeah.
job.
Oh yeah,
Oh yeah.
he would be good. He might be. I'm trying to think how tall he is. Because he would be really
I'm only
good.
5'3", Colleen. Like it's totally fine.
He
That's
could pull
fair.
off the chops too.
Yeah, I think he
Yes.
could. Yeah.
Mhm. With his
That's
like
who I'm
reddish
voting.
curls, like.
I mean, he can have a buzz cut. I don't care. Doesn't matter to me.
Right? I
Just
mean,
no
yeah,
shirts.
that's
This is
a-
a
yeah,
no.
just
There's no
shirtless
budget for shirts.
all the damn time. He can be shirtless. I would
Absolutely.
be totally fine with that. Mhm.
Okay. Then I was super excited to see Ezra doing mind tricks. That was super cool because I don't feel like we've seen a lot of that. So it's really cool to see that like our guy is still like leveling up there. That was great.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. So then they break into Thrawn's office and Ezra is like, we need to hide. And he's just like, you can't see me, basically, behind this like weird
Chair.
half wall.
Yeah.
It was just, this is not a good place to be hiding. What are you doing? Plus, you've got a droid with you that like that thing beep boops. Like you do you think the wall is beep booping? Crazy. Okay, next note just says Callus, I'm obsessed, underlined twice. Price is a bitch.
Yes.
Price
Yeah,
needs
you
to
guys
be
got like Callus and
GTFO.
Thrawn this episode.
Neither.
All I get is Price. Like, what the hell?
Yeah, that sucks. I'm sorry.
Mhm.
I mean,
she
yeah, no
sucks.
Sabine for you. There was nothing for you. Price is horrible.
Yeah.
The worst. Okay, at the end, I did feel really bad for Lieutenant List, to be honest.
Yes.
Yeah. He's
Like
an idiot.
he was just like, Callus, tell them, Callus, tell them. It's like, but then that was my initial reaction. I was like, oh, poor List, like that sucks. But then I realized he's also a space Nazi, and then I felt less bad. So
There you
Yeah,
go.
for sure.
and it was fine. I was like, Nuremberg will take care of this. Then I wrote, oh my God, Thrawn is amazing at art recognizing.
Yeah.
Mhm.
He was just like, look at the color. It's the same one. It's like, that's crazy. Okay.
Good. Mhm.
And then my last note just says, oh fuck, Thrawn knows.
Bum bum bum.
It's just crazy. And then he was like, Agent Fulcrum. And I was like, oh.
He'll be more used to the Empire than he ever
Yes.
was as
So,
Callus. Like,
okay, so I'm
rude.
gonna make a prediction here. I have obviously not watched any further than episode 18. So
Mhm.
my prediction is that Thrawn is going to start feeding Callus some like false info or like some bad info so that like they can catch the rebels like in a trap or something of some sort. So that's my hypothesis. He's definitely obviously not going to approach Callus with this at first. Like I think he wants him to not know that he knows
Yeah.
for a while. So he's going to keep this close to the vest, and he's a scary mofo, that Thrawn.
Yeah,
Oh,
very
yes.
scary.
Gravitas.
Very
Yeah.
scary. It's kind of funny
Okay.
because his own people aren't really that afraid of him. They should be. But they're
Yeah.
It's because they're all
Can I
racist
just-
and he's an alien.
Well, no,
Yeah, that's
the chists just are not.
Oh, the
They're like
chips.
Thrawn's weird.
Yeah.
Well, he is weird.
He's very weird.
I mean, they're not wrong. He is weird. I was nervous that they were going to get caught when they were breaking Ezra out because he was on his way, and I was like, how are they not crossing in the halls? So that was kind of weird. But
I did
was
like
my
that
only-
moment when he's just like, Ezra, get down from there. It's like,
That was so funny. I
he's
loved
like,
that.
it works all the time. What are you talking about?
Yeah, that was really cute.
One last thing I wanted to say about episode 17 is I think it is really unfair and not cool that Callus did not let Ezra take Hera's family heirloom. Like,
Yeah.
what's the big deal?
Mm.
Just grab it, take it.
The cat
Yeah, I mean, I would
boy.
assume that like I agree. I think that he should have taken it 'cause it's like whatever. However, I think they were still going to operate under the assumption that Thrawn wouldn't know who they had gotten, which was Ezra, because they were still operating under that, I'm pretty sure. And so I think if he had been like, oh, that, bounty hunter or whatever took this random thing that
I thought they had already known that it was Ezra.
No, so I think that would have given him away. So Kallus was like, don't.
Yeah, that would have given the goose away for sure.
Yeah.
And I think they were also like, I think they were trying to operate under the assumption that they wouldn't notice that anyone had even broken into the office at first. Like it would be a little bit before they know.
Yeah. I was happy that they were able to, erase the archives.
Yes. So very important.
Maybe somebody has erased the archives.
Obi-Wan.
So good. All right. Episode 18. Definitely not as good as the last one. This one's called Secret Cargo.
It's good, but it's not Kallus.
It was just like kind of obvious. Like when they started talking about Mon Mothma, like, and I don't even know who Mon Mothma is, to be honest. Like, I mean, I do now, obviously, but like that, it wasn't like really a thing. I was like, okay, obviously, like she's going to be the cargo. They're going to be protecting her, getting her to a destination. Like they tried to hide like what was in that shipment for too long. And I was like, this is obvious.
Yeah. Bada bing, bada boom.
Exactly. But she was super cool. I like how she was standing up to Palpatine. That was awesome. Seeing Ezra piloting is like one of my favorite things. I love seeing Ezra in the pilot seat.
He's like, I can fly. I'm a pilot.
So cute.
Hera's like, oh no.
This note just says, how does Thrawn know everything? Like he's almost too good. Like it's almost like I don't believe you.
He is that good.
Yeah, he actually is that good.
He's that good.
He's
like a tactical genius. And he uses his like art criticism, cultural criticism, just to even become more terrifying.
Yeah, it was just wild. My next one says, "Fuck Governor Price." Again, she's not cool. I wanted to make sure that I wrote a note for Gold 5, sacrificing himself for the good of the rebel cause, and I just wrote pour one out for Gold 5, who like got there in the. I don't even have a drink, but just like. Got there to take the blast. He saved the day. Then I got really Jewish and I wrote, "Oi, Thrawn is good."
So
then Mon Mothma kind of made me uncomfortable. So when she was in the cockpit with Hera, and they were basically like in the beam, right? They were in the like tractor beam being taken in, and Mon Mothma's like giving her demands or whatever to the Empire. And she's like, I'm just buying you time to come up with a plan to Hera. And I'm like, how about you come up with a plan, bitch? Like, why is this on Hera? Like, why does Hera have to come up with a plan in like a snap like that?
Because that's Hera's job.
Okay, but that's a lot of pressure.
It is. I mean, she's squadron leader for Phoenix Squadron, so it makes sense. But then Mon Mothma also could help, but she doesn't know anything about tactics.
Yeah.
I just felt like that was too much.
It's a lot. I think she's also kind of testing Hera a little bit.
Is that your job, though? Is that her job?
It will be.
Yeah, kind of.
Yeah, she's the leader of the rebellion, basically. Even now, her and Bail Organa are the two architects of the
I mean, I get that, but it just seems like a tough time to be like, I'm going to test you now.
I mean, Hera is officially her security detail in that moment. On that ship, Hera is her security chief. So it is Hera's job to think of a way out of this.
Look, I understand that, but I feel like nobody even told Hera what she was transporting.
And that's
that's a hard part, and that's a very valid criticism that I also have.
I think Mon Mothma might have been like, why don't we just tell them? But her people are like, no.
No, security. Meh.
Yeah. I don't think her aide could do like anything for real.
So then they have the brilliant idea of blasting the nebula.
That was great. And it looked so smart.
So cool.
Yeah, so wicked awesome.
Actually, it looked really cool when they were really close to the nebula too, and like everything was burning up. And the ghost is solid.
Yeah.
Like,
yes, it is.
And then my last note says Mon Mothma as a G, quitting the Senate to fight in the rebellion. So that was really cool. So I liked her. I just thought this episode was a bit slow.
Yeah.
And I'm not sure that like I really bought into the stakes. Like I feel like I already knew that Mon Mothma was gonna make it out. Like
Yes.
you know, it was gonna be like a close call, but they all escape except for Gold 5,
Yeah.
our hero forever.
I thought the Imperial probe droid was kind of scary though. He like sounded scary and he did scary things.
Yes, he was
Yes,
very
he
He
freaky.
looks terrifying. Like,
Yeah, he does.
mm, 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 mm.
So that was it. Those were my takes. I'm very excited to hear more about the Callus storyline. I'm very nervous for him. And just give me all the Callus.
I wish, because Mon Mothma was supposed to be in Revenge of the Sith. She's one of Padme Amidala's BFFs, and they're
Yes.
part of like the original resistance who were trying to get the Chancellor not to have power anymore. And
But they cut all of
she
her
was-
scenes
yeah, cut
because
all
they
of
were
her
also
scenes.
the scenes where Padme is a badass and is like forming the rebellion before the Empire actually starts.
Silly.
Justice for Padme.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yes, all day, every day.
But she is being voiced by the actress who played her in Rogue One.
Yes.
Oh, cool.
Which is really cool.
Hmm.
And who played her in Revenge of the Sith.
Yes, who did play her in Revenge of the Sith because unfortunately the actress from Return of the Jedi passed away.
Oh, jeez.
Mhm. Yes, many Bothans died
Yes.
to bring us these plans.
Give
I
us Rogue
love
2.
the Mothma.
A
She's
Bothan
such
story.
a freaking like. Oh God, I don't want to hear from the Bothans because then we're gonna get freaking Borsfelia, and I'm not here for that. No. Okay. Now
All right.
we're going to move into our next holocron. The 6th holocron conjecture at the Cantina. This is where we ask our questions about the episode and explore some of the wider Star Wars lore together. I'll get us started with what Dave Filoni and crew had to say about these episodes. They initially wanted Through Imperial Eyes to be entirely in that Callus, like first-person shooter POV. They tried it.
Okay.
They tried it, and it was really difficult.
I
Huh.
feel like I may have like thrown up if I watched that.
Yeah, it was
Like-
very disorienting. And they wanted that kind of feeling for us to be scared the whole episode and be like, holy shit, what's going to happen to Callus? Because we could only see like through his point of view. But
Mhm.
eventually they're like, that's not going to work. We can't do it for like story reasons and for seasickness. And it just was really difficult to conceptualize.
Yeah.
So eventually
Interesting.
they just went with what they had at the beginning. They're like, let's start with it because it is really cool and a different perspective than what we usually do. I was like, get after it, Dave Filoni. Get after it.
I
love
loved
so
it.
much.
Yeah.
I did too.
It was a really
Like-
cool opener, definitely.
Mhm. It's such a unique episode. We do like a nice little bodily episode.
Mhm.
Okay, and then for everybody, did you find Mon Mothma's speech like particularly uplifting? Would it have persuaded you to join in their rebellion?
No. No.
I know it's like it depends on who she's broadcasting to. Also, I mean, they're like she's basically trying to get the desperate cells to join together, but I don't know if it got everybody.
I don't.
I mean, Go ahead.
Flo.
I was. Yeah. I don't know if it would have. It was. I did like that. It's a nice callback to Ezra's speech back in season 1. To kind of get everyone to start lifting up, and then this is the okay now that we've all kind of stood up, now we need to actually come together under
Yes.
a single banner. And I think it
Yes.
makes sense. I don't know if it would have persuaded me if I were like on the fence about something
Right.
or
Yeah, like
it
what
would've-
line from her speech even stands out to you? Nothing stands out to me. I'm
Right.
sorry.
but it would
Yep.
it would definitely like perk my interest. Like if I heard it and I'm living
Right.
under this thing, I'd be like, oh, there is something out there
And
potentially.
she's super respected, so I think that would definitely pull in a lot of people. But people like Saw Gerrera, who like, what do we think Saw thought of this when he heard it?
He thinks she's a wuss
Yeah,
because
Which
she's
is
not
fair.
out in like an open arena with a blaster in her hand.
right. Yeah, she's got the metaphorical blasters in her brain. Like that's where she's fighting the diplomatic front kind of thing, which is really difficult to be inspirational with if you're like in the back room kind of dealing with this kind of stuff, because she was in the Senate with Bail Organa, and Bail is still basically in hiding at this point. He's still in the Senate. So it's like, what have you been doing this whole time though? Because nobody really knows. They're just like, oh, you decided to defect and now we should come join you.
I mean, the rebellion just like needs a Bernie Sanders who like rallies the team together, brothers and sisters, let's fight. You know,
but the problem is that they live in a society where the Empire silences you before you get to be the Bernie Sanders.
Totally. I just feel like Mon Mothma like had a platform and she kind of like shit the bed. Like it just like it wasn't good. Like it was just boring. Like at that time, that's like the time to like fire people up. And she was just like, I don't know, like if it was like her tone. Her tone was very like monotonous in a way.
Yeah.
It was like,
We
this
will
is
handle
boring.
this and we will rise up like yeast bread.
Right. It was kind of like it
Less
kind
exciting
of
than
felt like when Effie gives her speech in Hunger Games in District 12. It's like, for all of Panem. It's just like, no.
Yeah.
Just be like, I don't know. It just kind of seemed like she didn't know what she was talking about in terms of like the day-to-day fight of the rebels. And so I just feel like it wasn't very
Which
relatable.
she doesn't, and Hera points that out
She
to
does
her.
not, no.
They
Right.
have that conversation, which I thought was a really great moment.
I just feel like, okay, maybe Hera should have written the speech and then Mon Mothma could have like delivered it, I guess. I don't know. Seemed attached.
Because Hera is very inspirational and we know that girl can deliver a speech.
Oh yeah.
Oh yeah.
But they needed the recognition of Mon Mothma, which did work. Like it does work. I don't think the Mon Calamarians are in yet. Not really until closer to Rogue One.
Yeah.
But it probably piqued their interest. They're like, we remember her from the Clone Wars and, you know.
She's still got some of that idealism going for her, which she does carry into Rogue One. And that actually leads to one of my questions. Does that speech create a continuity error for Rogue One? Because in Rogue One, she's at Yavin and she's giving the assignment to Jyn Erso, and she says, we need to bring your father and bring him to the Senate for testimony. And I'm like, well, you're not in the Senate anymore, so how is that your plan?
I guess they could give him to Bail, but
yeah, were they just gonna like hand him off to Bail? Or she's talking like she's still in the Senate.
Right.
Yeah, because she defected earlier, so it's like, ooh.
Yeah, so we don't know.
That's a good question.
My other one that I just kind of want to talk about, I want to talk about code cylinders because they always just seem like a little odd to me. The entire concept of them, like this is like a very futuristic sci-fi society, and by like I feel like by today's standards, the idea that you have like a physical little key that you carry around in your pocket that's only got that one function, like even
is that the only function?
It's their lanyard.
Pretty much.
ID
yeah, it's like the lanyard ID, but I feel like a card that you like scan is like more quote unquote high tech futuristic than like a key thing that you stick in the. But then I was actually thinking about it, and for the first time it kind of reminded me of the that like Swiss bank laser etched key from the Da Vinci Code that they actually put in, and it reads like the etchings around it. And it's like impossible to fake effectively.
Right.
Why? Like I just
I think the Empire would have injected chips into them by now.
No, I mean there's a lot of anti-vaccine in the Empire right now, so that wouldn't.
They're not going 5G.
Really work. Yeah, no. Lot of resistance there.
I was gonna say
chain code.
I was under the impression for some reason, I don't know why, that those code cylinders like had genetic material in them, like blood or something, where it was like testing
that could be interesting
stuff in there. And then I was like, well, maybe like they want to make sure that they have those in case they're doing all their cloning shit. So
that's true. I hadn't thought about that.
That was just my assumption, but
Alfie is big on databases.
He's big on cloning too.
Very.
Yeah.
All right. Well, everybody, that is going to wrap us up on our Rebels talk today. But before we go, y'all, we recently crossed 100 episodes of Bohemian Geek Studies.
Wild.
This is actually our 102nd episode, but we didn't realize that we were doing the 100th until like immediately before we recorded it.
Yeah. Adorable.
And also we're still living in COVID times, so time is meaningless.
Yeah.
So we are celebrating it today. And You ladies just look absolutely lovely as always.
Oh my
And
gosh.
to be frank, I feel underdressed. So if you all give me a second.
All right,
Yeah,
we guess.
If
So
you're
Mike-
watching on YouTube, we have decided to dress up for this episode, so you should go check us out on our YouTube, Bohemian Geek Studies. I am wearing a gown.
A gown, full-on gown.
Here, I'll
Love
stand
it.
up.
I love
it's beautiful.
It's so cute. Yes. Oh my.
Thank you, Claire Fraser.
Oh my
gosh.
goodness.
The Peaky Blinders.
For those of you who are listening to us in an auditory medium, Anders has just shown up in a tie and a jacket and a hat, and he's looking great.
You're looking fly. Mm-hmm. Looking
So cute.
good.
So if you were gonna watch one episode on YouTube, this is definitely the one to be watching.
Yes. I've got
So
my
yeah, if you were
multiple
wondering
ears
why we were all
on.
dressed up.
I've got a dress on, but it's kind of hard to see because it's black. But it's low cut as fuck. Everything's
We're getting lit at BGS headquarters today.
So Sarah, you're back with us. I mean, you started it all.
Yeah,
started
wait,
this
I can't
all.
even. It was almost, I think, 2 years ago by now would have been the first time Matilda dropped, I think. Maybe a little bit longer than
I
that.
think
Because we
longer
took
than
some,
that.
yeah, because we took a few weeks off. That's absolutely wild.
It's so
that
crazy.
a little
Oh,
journey with Will and I over Matilda has just traveled galaxies far away into Star Wars and traveling back in time with Outlander. It's just been a hoot and a holler spending time with friends, talking about the stories and the thirst traps that we love.
Oh my god. I think just like our Outlander pod is just through all three of us being like, huh. Frothing at the mouth and girding of the loins the entire freaking time.
Yeah, should we go around and like give a memory or something?
I
Do
think
like
yeah.
a little toast.
So
Yes.
a favorite individual memory, just
Okay.
one. What was your idea? Start us off.
Oh man, that's so hard. I think for me, it would probably be the Mando pods.
Mm.
Like overall, I don't know. It was before that we had been doing Clone Wars, and obviously I hadn't been watching Clone Wars, but I'm also like I'm a big Star Wars person. I just wasn't into Clone Wars, and so being able to like do Mando with you guys was so special, and just like hearing how brilliant you guys are about Star Wars and learning so much from you, it was just so lovely, and interacting with our friends and getting
Yes.
messages and answering questions. It was just really exciting. And it was exciting that we were getting episode by episode and it was coming out like as we were doing it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So
That
it
was
just-
insane.
Remember
It
when
was
we
just
did the
right.
freaking Mandalorian trailer? Like we
Yep.
did that like snap. Holy crap.
We had a 45-minute episode about like a 2-minute trailer within
Yeah.
24 hours.
That's absurd. I want to go on the record and say that is absurd.
Poor
And
Sarah. Sarah's like, please, Lord, you guys, we need to get this tight.
I just also feel like during that time, like we were doing Outlander and we were doing Mando. And
It was so much.
it was
It's a
so
lot.
much. I was just like editing BGS all the time and recording BGS all the time. And it was a lot, but it was also just like, this is really fun. I'm really happy that I'm doing this with my friends. So
Yeah.
thanks for being there, team. It's just been great.
Yeah.
And
And I was just re-listening to my very first BGS episode, which is the Miss Honey episode of Matilda. And it
Yes.
was just so funny because at the time we weren't swearing on the pod. And I could like hear myself being like, oh, I definitely would have sworn there. Oh, I 100% was going to swear there. So it was just a fun trip down memory lane for me.
That's adorable.
I love it. Oh dear. Okay, favorite memory or episode. Ooh, I mean, I love our fan fiction episode.
Oh,
I think that was
Yeah.
lit. I love that. I think we need to circle back around and do another one
yes.
on fan fiction because that was super fun. And then Sarah, our last Clone Wars pod was so good.
Yeah.
It was
Yeah.
insanely good, and we got a lot of good feedback from that. So then we were like, we can keep doing this shit. Yeah.
Yeah.
It's just been like so great to have you guys for COVID times
Oh my
Yes.
gosh.
Oh my god.
when we couldn't go anywhere.
Yeah.
And it was like, my screen, I can see the people, talk to the people. It was
I
just
still-
very good.
I think it is absolutely batshit. I've mentioned this to a couple of people recently. I have never met any of you in person.
Yeah.
I've met
Well, I've
two
met
of you.
Colleen. Yeah.
Yeah,
Colleen
you
I've
two
met
have each
Sarah,
met
I've
Colleen.
met Flo.
Yeah.
Yeah, Colleen stayed at my house, but I'm still waiting for that Disney World trip that we're all gonna take.
Yes.
Florida BGS trip.
Yes.
Oh, when it's safe to go there.
2022, it's gonna happen.
Yes. Abso-freaking-lutely.
Oh my god, we
For
could
me, it might have to
totally
wait till
just celebrate
2023. I got a lot of trips planned in 2022. to be
Oh,
honest.
sorry.
How are we not a priority for you? That's really
I'm
fucked
sorry,
up.
you guys don't go over wedding in Spain. I'm sorry.
Oh.
Okay, BGS trip to Spain.
Spain, let's do
2022.
it.
For the record, not my wedding.
Yeah,
Anders
not
is
Anders' wedding.
single. Please hit him up at
Yeah.
bohemiangeekstudies@gmail.com.
I need a date for this wedding, people. Come on.
You can also contact him at Yet Another Star Wars Pod.
Yes.
That's great.
And Anders' favorite moment is right now.
That's right.
You know, I was thinking about this earlier today, and I mean, I'm kind of with Flo. I loved the Mando run. That was kind of the first real piece that I got to do with you guys. Like I had come on for the Thrawn episodes, and the Ezra episodes, but then it was Mando that we really I felt like I was like, oh my god, it's like I'm a full member of the team, yay! But I have to say, I was thinking about it. My favorite absolute individual memory from recording BGS is arguing with Flo about sibling dynamics as they pertain to Home Alone.
Amazing.
That's my mom's favorite episode, by the way, is our Christmas episode.
Holiday episode. That's great.
She loves it.
I think like I'm just obsessed with arguing with Anders. So whatever he says, I have to say the opposite. He's like my big brother.
That's great.
What about you, Sarah?
I don't think I have like a favorite singular moment. It's just like a flavor of total contentment and joy. Like I think on one hand, I really loved my time with Matilda because it was just honestly so sweet and innocent and just like obscenely diving into a book. Like just it was literally the dorkiest I think I've ever been in my life, and I loved that.
Magnificent.
You guys made me think about Matilda in ways I had not. Like
yeah, it was just the best. I think I'm most proud of like the work that Colleen and I did for Clone Wars, because like this was before YouTube and I was able to do like sound effects and everything, and it was just like I'm just forever going to be extremely proud of the work that we did there. But like
you sang, we did voices.
Yeah, like it was like a whole trip. But I don't know. I think it's just been absolutely supremely wonderful to laugh with you friends, to like loosen up, to make little sex jokes that I would love to be able to do, and to just like tease and prod one another about our favorite things, including like our least favorite things about our favorite things. It's just been absolutely wonderful to really take detailed dorky dives into our favorite fandoms. I love it. I love it. I love it.
Everything's fine.
Everything's fine.
I am a crier, everyone. It's fine.
And it's also really nice that like, you know, Will was here in our lives, and like I've taken a little bit of a step back for a while, and it's just kind of nice to know that like Bohemian Geek Studies, it's just like it's a baton that you pass to friends.
Don't worry, Sarah, we'll reel you back in.
That, like it's all about what we enjoy and how we enjoy it, and it's just like a zero judgment zone for just exploring.
Yep. We love what we
feel like
love,
there's
and we
some
let each other
judgment.
love what we love. Well, obviously. I mean, I like Maul. Come on.
I don't judge that.
I've been told I need a therapist a few times.
Yeah, I do not yuck that yum. I say unwrap that Milky Way.
I mean, I'm over here saying that yes, he was justified in killing the younglings. So
I do remember it was back in the Clone Wars pods. Colleen, you and Sarah had Bloody Marys one day, and you were the giggliest I think I've ever heard the two of you.
Aww.
And I just remember thinking to myself, God, they didn't call them Bloody Mollies? Like, big missed opportunity.
I mean,
We're glad you're here now, Anders.
Yeah, to like set the record straight, to be
That's
honest.
right.
Yeah.
Hey, we did Mandalorians. We were pretty proud of that.
You were.
As we were drinking our Bloody Mauler. Yes, I love it. Yeah. That was a good episode. I think that's when Maul first came back. And we were like, we're doing this on a Sunday. We should have bloodies.
Yeah.
I think we should probably just like take this time to just thank all the people who are listening. Like,
Yes.
I'm just so in shock and awe that people like even want to listen to us just be friends on Zoom and on the phone.
Yeah.
It's just crazy that, you know, we're in 51 countries. We have, you know, thousands of downloads. And it's just like, I certainly never expected this in any way, shape, or form. And I never expected us to get to 100 episodes. So I'm just really thankful that there's people out there who are listening and whose lives, like maybe we can make them laugh a little bit during COVID time and think about things in a different way. And it's been a really special thing in my life, and it's brought really special people into my life. So yeah, I'm just really thankful.
Yes, so thankful to everybody who gave us like questions for Master and Apprentice when we asked for them.
Yes.
And gave us emails and asked us really, really in-depth questions where I had to dig real deep into Wikipedia.
Yeah.
I was like, oh shit, I don't know. Sarah, I'll be back. Like, yeah, thank you guys so much for tuning in, downloading us, like upvoting us on YouTube. Thank you so much. We love you all.
Yes. I don't know if I can say it any better than that, so I'm just going to say thank you all. Thank the three of you for letting me join this lovely, lovely BGS crew.
Oh, we
Thank
couldn't do it
Sarah.
without you.
Yeah. I think, we're all integral to this team. Like, oh, we need our queen. She made us. She made us who we are. When she's like, can anybody proofread this outline? I was like, I like proofreading.
I don't know. She's too busy. She's too busy making that dough at the art show, man.
Yeah, for as long as they'll last, I'm doing it.
We love it. Sarah has got some of her art in her background too right now, and ooh, it's so pretty. So
Check her out at Sarah O'Connor Fine Art.
Yes.
Mm-hmm. I showed my brother your art over the weekend, and he's an art teacher, or he has an art teaching degree, and he's like, she's good.
Aww.
I was like, I know, right? It's amazing. Oh my gosh. I'm still crying. It's fine.
Well, I love you guys. And thank you so much, listeners. You truly mean just the absolute galaxy to us.
Absolutely.
Yes, we love you all.
Mm.
Ooh, a deep breath. Everything's good.
All right.
Let's wrap this one up.
Yep. I think, guys, that means we're going to wrap
102.
it. As a wrap on episode 102, everyone, thank you for being with us and tune with us again next time when we continue our Rebels Season 3 coverage with some droid secret agent shenanigans.
Ooh.
I like secret agents.
I like droids.
There you go.
Okay.
I like shenanigans. Let's go.
I'm a little iffy on droids right now. I just finished Last Shot, the novel, and it involves an attempted droid uprising that not in a good way.
Oh no. I mean, is it ever the killbots that got through there?
Basically he tries to turn them all into killbots. And like little baby Ben Solo's there, and you're really worried for him. But
oh no.
But anyway, until then, please follow us wherever you get your podcasts, guys. Leave us those 5-star reviews. Check out our website at bohemiangeekstudies.com. You can watch all of our episodes. Enjoy Colleen's Book Corner, where she reviews Star Wars literature, and contact us through email and social media. And as always, guys, we always say this: tell other nerdy knights to join us. It helps so much.
Mm-hmm.
You can also head over to ForgottenEntertainment.com. Check out all the offerings from the Forgotten Entertainment family, including yet another Star Wars podcast where we went through the films in the Star Wars canon, and we are cooking up something for the fall. So keep your eye out for that. But until next time, keep your secret identities ready, keep those code cylinders up, and keep those episodes streaming.
Ooh, what's a code cylinder?
Wait.
Everybody. It's something you better hang on to, otherwise Callus is going to steal it.
Two hands.
Yeah, two hands. Hold on, rough.
Bye, guys.
Bye, everyone.